Just beams a wave any size. Catches these across right size. Oh, God.
And we're back, everybody.
We're back. We are back. People just keep, once again, people count us out, and we just keep bouncing back with another episode. You know, it would have been yada yada fashion to end on episode 41, just in Dirk's honor.
Right.
But we didn't. We're back with episode
We
42.
thought about it for about 2 months, but
Yeah.
we figured, you know.
Well, and we've been
It's just
busy.
like the it's the Rocky Balboa of podcasts. I feel like, you know, we just keep getting punched down, but we always find a way to get back up. Maybe one day we'll make some money like Rocky did.
Yeah, we'll see. Probably not. Episode 42. Do you have any athletes that come to mind?
Isn't Jackie Robinson?
Jackie Robinson. That was the first one I wrote down. Jackie
42,
Robinson.
yeah. I feel like this has got to be the Jackie episode for sure.
Jackie Robinson episode. This episode, we are tier ranking all 11 Spider-Man movies from 4 different universes. Okay?
Oh, yeah.
All 11. 4 different actors. Well, I guess 3 actors and a voice. Right. And it's going to be a hot debate, I feel like, because we've had discussions before about Spider-Man and my feelings towards one of the actors. And I will say this is a good disclaimer. I need to say this because this is not in true yada yada fashion. I watched all of the Spider-Mans in preparation for this episode.
You did your homework.
I did.
I'm impressed.
I had not seen them all. And I usually don't watch or read or listen to whatever we talk about. I just kind of riff and go yada yada about it, but not this episode. So I've got an actual list, an actual ranking, and I'm excited because I have done my homework, like you said. So we're going to tier rank them, okay? And then we're going to kind of go rapid fire where we would rank them, 1 through 11 after that, okay? And so I want to just make some notes about my rankings first of all, and then I want to get some of your opinions about some things in the movies.
Let me give a disclaimer first, because this video will have spoilers for all the Spider-Man movies, but most importantly for Spider-Man Brand New Day, which is currently in theaters. So if you haven't seen Brand New Day, then go watch it, because there's going to be a part of this episode where we're going to spoil some stuff. All right, big stuff. So go watch it, come back here, and then get our thoughts. Or if you don't care about spoilers, then just stay here. Or if you do care about spoilers, we need views. So either way.
Right. Yeah. Well, and you can just skip, like I said, every episode, every movie is going to have a spoiler, but you can just skip through the Brand New Day part if you don't want it to be spoiled. But yeah, go see it because it is fantastic and we are going to talk about it. So, all right. Here is the basis behind most of my rankings. Okay, before we get into them, before we talk about them, I just want to give some background knowledge into something that I'm probably going to repeat more than once when we start talking about the rankings of these movies. Okay, now a friend of mine the other day, he's another movie buff. He's a listener to the podcast. Okay, Coach Baker. All right, if you're listening, shout out to you. He told me this the other day, and at the time, I was trying to collect my thoughts and figure out, where do I want to rank these? Where do I want to rank this one? How do I feel about this actor versus this actor, this Spider-Man versus this Spider-Man? And he told me this, and at the time I was like, I don't really know if I agree with that. But the more I've thought about it, the more I agree with what he said. So here's what he said. Okay. Tobey Maguire, which for those that don't know, he's the original Spider-Man. He's the first trilogy that came out. He was the one in those. Okay. He is the best Spider-Man, but he's not the best Peter Parker. Okay.
Okay. Interesting.
All right. Now, Andrew Garfield is the best Peter Parker, but not the best Spider-Man. Okay.
Very interesting takes. Okay.
Third, Tom Holland is the best combination of the two.
Okay.
Spider-Man and Peter Parker combination. So I relate it to sports because that's just what I do. All
Yeah.
right. So I say Luca is the best offensive talent in the NBA.
Okay.
Right. Um, you know, Wimby is the best defensive talent in the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
But Shea might be the best combination of the two.
Yeah.
All three of them are great in everything that they do. But
Right.
some are better at certain things than others are at certain things. And so that is where a lot of my rankings are going to fall, is that mindset behind it.
Okay.
Okay.
I've heard, so interestingly enough, I've heard some people say before kind of the same thing about Tom, that he's a good combination of the two. That makes sense to me. But that Tobey, like some people prefer Tobey as Peter and Andrew as Spider-Man. So kind
Really?
of the inverse of that. But I understand what Coach Baker's getting at. So
Yeah. So
I understand.
I the more I thought on it, the more I agree. And I don't agree, like, I'm not going to die on that hill, but I do think I like, the theory behind it. And that's where a lot of my rankings come into play.
Yeah.
Okay. So let me ask you, okay, because I kind of just said a few of them, but what is your favorite of these movies? Which one is your favorite suit?
I'm gonna rank some suits first. I'm down to rank some
Yeah.
suits.
No, I just want your favorite. We're
Oh,
not ranking
just
them.
my favorite. Oh,
Just
okay.
your favorite, because it'll take forever. We now
All
have
right.
to do like a series of Spider-Man.
It'd be another episode. Just superhero suits. Just gonna rank
Yeah.
them based on how cool they are.
Ooh, all superheroes. I like that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
No capes.
No case. Okay. So for the longest time, ever since the Amazing Spider-Man 2 came out, and I'm not going to share my thoughts about that movie yet, but that suit, Andrew Garfield's suit in his second movie, has been my favorite for a very
Really?
long time until
Ooh.
Spider-Man Brand New Day.
Ooh.
The Brand New Day suit is just, it looks like it's ripped straight out of the comics. I mean, it is the most, for me, it is the most classic Spider-Man suit we've ever gotten. And obviously he still has the eyes that shrink and
Mhm.
get bigger, which is unique to just Tom Holland, and the animated ones, of course. Um, but I think the Brand New Day suit is perfect. You can see the wrinkles when he's like moving around in it, so it feels tangible, in a way that his previous suits felt way more animated and like very sheen and like slick and stuff. But this one just feels like a real suit that Tom Holland's actually wearing. It still has the raised webbing, but it's black instead of like Toby's silver. But I think the webbing on this one, as opposed to the Amazing Spider-Man 2 suit, is like the Amazing Spider-Man 2 suit. The webbing on the outside has got a lot going on. I feel like the simplicity of the Brand New Day suit is what I really like, and I like Tom's build a little more than Andrew's build, kind of lanky looking. Um, and the only thing I like more about Andrew's suit, about the Amazing Spider-Man 2 suit, than I do about Brand New Day, are actually the huge eyes. I really love the huge eyes on Spider-Man.
Hmm.
But other than that, man, and Brand New Day suit's perfect. I have no complaints with it. So that's my favorite.
Favorite
Hot take.
suit is the newest one. Brand New Day. Okay.
Perfect. Yeah.
All right. Good for you. What's your favorite romance of the three, or I guess four, of the 3 to 4 universes? Which one is your favorite romance between Peter Parker and, whether it's Gwen Stacy or whether it's Mary Jane or whoever it is?
Yeah. I think that the one that has the most chemistry between the actors is actually Andrew and Gwen Stacy. I really do. Um, I'm endeared by like the sincerity and the classicness of Tobey and Tobey Spider-Man and Mary Jane. I feel like that's like the quintessential Spider-Man romance. But if I'm talking about just like pure chemistry between the actors, I mean Andrew Garfield and Emma Stone knock it out of the park. So I'll probably go them.
Yeah, that was mine too, and
Yeah,
it's probably just because they're the 2 best actors in probably all of the movies, Andrew Garfield and Emma Stone, so,
I agree.
I mean, that's probably why the chemistry's so good. Um, Favorite universe of the 3?
I mean, I feel like we're cheating a little bit with Tom's because he gets the whole freaking MCU.
No, it's,
But
that's why it's so good.
yeah, I mean, I do love Tom's, but as a I really enjoy the self-contained nature of the Raimi trilogy. I think that I think what Raimi does with New York, like he gives New York its own voice and he makes it look distinct. Whereas sometimes in the MCU, I don't really feel that until Brand New Day is a little bit that where New York feels like New York in the MCU. Anyway, I just think that the universe itself, I'm probably more drawn towards. If this is a Spider-Man ranking, I'm more drawn towards the Spider-Man in the Raimi trilogy than the Spider-Man in the MCU, as you know, as the New York setting goes, the universe goes. So
That makes sense because sometimes, like, sometimes the MCU Spider-Mans are like, "Is this a Spider-Man movie, or is this a Marvel Avengers movie, or is this a Doctor
yeah,
Strange movie? What is this?" You know?
exactly. I feel like there's a clear thread from the first Raimi to the third Raimi where it's like this is one contained universe. It all looks the same. Whereas like Andrew's first movie and Andrew's second movie look like completely different things. Like
Mhm.
one's super dark and like we'll get into that later, and one's
Yep.
super bright, and then the MCU. You're right. Sometimes it feels like why are there so many characters carrying a Spider-Man movie? He's Spider-Man. He doesn't need to be carried by
Right.
these other superheroes. So
Yeah. And then
yeah,
they're in London, and then they're in New
yeah.
York, and then they're in, the different places. So,
Although,
alright.
if I mean, we're including the animated movies in this list, so
True.
Raimi and the multiverse are neck and neck. I
Really?
the
Okay.
look of the the look of the Into the Spider Verse movies is so unique and
Pretty good.
cool.
Yeah.
So that's up there with the Raimi trilogy as well.
Alright, last one. Favorite Aunt May?
My favorite Aunt May is Rosemary Harris from the Raimi movies.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
faux show. She spits some wisdom in in her speeches that really gets me.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
yeah, I think
She kinda
maybe
saved Peter
yeah.
Parker's life when Doc Ock was about to just stab him through the chest, and she hits him with his umbrella.
That too.
Yeah. So,
It's freaking awesome.
yeah, she's
Yeah.
old, I know that.
How about you?
Mine is I put the MCU. I put Aunt May in the I don't even know her name, the actress's name.
Marissa Tomei.
Oh, yeah, Marissa Tomei, George Costanza. Um, but I put her but I put in parentheses mainly because of her relationship with Happy. That's really the only reason that
Interesting.
she's
Okay.
one of my favorite because I like Happy, and I think
Yeah.
their relationship is funny. And so I had her, but I'm not gonna die on that hill, so alright. Do we wanna get into this?
Yeah, let's get into it. Before since you got to talk about how you're what you're considering with like the lens that you're using for to rank these movies, I wanted to talk about mine real quick
Okay.
because I basically I have two big questions that I'm asking when I was ranking these. And those two questions are, first of all, what is the movie revealing about the man behind the mask? So basically, what is the philosophy? What is the thesis of the movie? You know what I mean? And then
Okay.
the second one was what unique vision does it bring that none of the other Spider-Man films have brought to the table yet? So, was it revealing about Peter Parker, whoever's behind the mask, and how unique is it? Those are the two big ones. And then, of course, I have a bunch of biases that I associate with these movies. I respond well
Uh-huh.
to emotional sincerity. I like character more than plot, and I like a movie to have like a strong sense of identity when it comes to directing. You know what I mean? The cinematic identity of it. So if it's those are the things I'm looking out for as far as my biases. But those other two questions are the ones that I'm evaluating all these movies on. So there we
So
go.
there you go. We actually have reasoning behind our picks.
Yeah.
We've done our homework. There's some preparation. We're growing. Episode
Right.
42. It's taken us 42 episodes, but we have grown in our yada yada career. So,
And
all right,
here's
I'm gonna
one more
share
thing before we get into it. I got one more thing, because I did want to talk about a little bit about the box office that Brand New Day is doing right now, without getting into anything about the movie. Just the box office. It had the biggest domestic opening weekend ever, higher than the higher than The Force Awakens, Star Wars, higher than Endgame, Infinity War. Crazy. And so we can get more into that. We can get more into that later, but I mean, this episode is about, I think, beyond a shadow of a doubt, the most popular superhero on the face of the earth right now, for sure.
Oh, right now, for sure. Absolutely.
I mean, I think maybe it just in general. I mean, overall, over the last couple years, maybe since No Way Home, I don't know, but
you might be
I
right.
mean, Spider-Man has. I mean, he is the guy. So we'll get into that while we're talking about it. But
yeah, I might agree with that. Okay, I'm going to
just
share
as far
my
as
screen.
Popularity goes. But yeah, let's get into the rankings.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to share my screen.
All right.
Okay, so for those of you that have forgotten, all right, we went ahead and gave you a little definition of what each tier is. Okay, so the S tier, that is the supreme tier. Okay, and we've had heated debates about what belongs in the S tier in terms of Halloween candy, in terms of Marvel movies, in terms of chips. We've had a lot of debates about the S tier. Okay.
Yeah.
Now that is reserved for the best of the best. Okay. It is the Hall of Fame. It is better than anything else. All right. The A tier, it's a great movie. Okay. Nothing wrong with being in the A tier, right? You're on the brink of being an all-time classic, but you're just not quite there. Okay, you're not the best of the best. The B tier, it's a good movie, right? And we would watch it again, but in terms of movies that we would choose to watch, it wouldn't be our first choice. Okay, so the B tier, good movie, would watch again, but not our first choice. The C tier, this is a tier that we've seen the movie more than once. Okay, it's not something that we're not going to go and I'm going to sit down and I'm going to watch this movie because I want to watch it. But we have seen it more than once, okay, in all the years that they've been out, okay? And then the D tier, this is one that we've watched one time and we really don't care to watch it again, okay? Or I guess we've both seen them all, but we watched it once and we really don't want to watch it again, okay? So that's the tier definitions. That's where we're getting our reasoning behind what we're choosing, okay? Now, I've put all 11 movies in order of the day they were released, okay, or I guess the year they were released. Okay, so all of the Tobey Maguire movies are first. Spider-Man 1, Spider-Man 2, Spider-Man 3. Then we have the Andrew Garfield movies, The Amazing Spider-Man and The Amazing Spider-Man 2. Then we have a couple of Tom Holland's, Spider-Man Homecoming, Spider-Man Far From Home. Then we mix in Spider-Man Into the Multiverse. Then we get back to the MCU, Spider-Man No Way Home, back to the multiverse, Spider-Man Across the Multiverse, and finally, the newest release, Spider-Man Brand New Day. Okay, so we can choose them in whatever order, but that's just the order that I listed them in. So do you want to go in numerical order or do you want to just go random?
I mean, we can go numerical if you want to make this easier, or you could just shoot from the wrist.
Let's go numerical. Oh, I see what you did there.
Yeah, there it is.
All right. Numerical, the very first Spider-Man movie ever in terms of what we're talking about. Spider-Man. Tobey Maguire, the Green Goblin. Where do you have the original Spider-Man?
It's S.
Do you want to talk about it and then tell me, or do you want to just tell me?
It's S tier. It's S.
Oh.
You might be mad about
ladies and gentlemen, we're
going
to get into this. We're going to get into this. Is it the best of the best again? Because this S tier is going to get crowded. I can already tell.
Oh, it will.
Tell me why. Tell me why it is S tier.
Okay, it is S tier because for me anyways, it is the quintessential superhero origin movie. I think that it is the best. The only thing rivaling it is the original Iron Man and maybe Batman Begins, but I think this is above both of those. I think this sets up the myth of Spider-Man better than anything. Because what are superheroes? Since we got the Odyssey in the theaters right now,
Oh,
what
yeah, we
are
need to talk about that.
superheroes? Yeah, what are superheroes but modern myths? You know what I'm saying? You get it. And this movie, here's the thing: Sam Raimi, the director, had the responsibility of creating the story of Peter Parker, all the classic elements. He had the responsibility of creating that in one go. All right, I don't think Peter Parker Spider-Man was a huge name like he was before this movie came out. This changed the game. This movie came out in a time where superheroes were trying to be cool and wearing black leather like the X-Men and Blade and all these, what do you expect? Yellow spandex, trying to be macho and cool. And this movie comes out and he's wearing a blue and red leotard. It's classic Spider-Man. It sets a precedent. You know what I mean? The only other thing, like it's doing what the original Superman did back in 1978 or whatever. Like it is that for kind of my generation. You know what I mean? Like I grew up on this movie. I'm not gonna pretend like I don't have nostalgic goggles on. I I am really endeared by the sincerity of the script. It's just so sincere and earnest, and it's not playing anything for jokes. It's taking itself not not ridiculously seriously, but it's just very earnest. It's wearing its heart on its sleeve, and that's something that I respect. And before we started this ranking, I told you one of the things that I value the most is emotional sincerity when it comes to Spider-Man. And this is probably the most emotionally sincere movie that I think of. It's just it wears its heart on its sleeve. It's all about character. It has a super strong cinematic identity because Sam Raimi has such a distinct directing vision. Like he makes it his own. He comes from a horror background, which is kind of perfect for a villain like the Green Goblin. And Willem Dafoe's performance is the best in the movie, I think. Some people call it ridiculously campy. I think it's classic villain in a superhero movie. I mean, I think he kind of sets another precedent for that, and yeah, I really do think that this is a perfect superhero origin story. I think we learn everything we need to learn about Peter Parker within like before he becomes Spider-Man. We know everything we know about Peter Parker, everything we need to know about Peter Parker. This is the movie that taught a generation that with great power comes great responsibility. Those are words from this movie. It's become a cliche. It has because of this, because it became popular here. But I mean, this movie is the movie that gave us with great power comes great responsibility. And I just love how earnest it is. I think it's a perfect cinematic origin story. It's just a great modern superhero myth. It's earnest, it's foundational, it does all the great stuff. I don't think we have any of the great modern superhero movies without it. So I love this movie, and that's all I got to say about that for now.
Yeah, that's all. So I agree with a lot of what you said. It is the original Spider-Man. It does a better job than any other. I would have to agree other than Iron Man because I'm an Iron Man
That's
lover.
fine. Iron Man's great.
But I do agree that it is the best storytelling superhero movie there is. It gives you a background into who the person is, into who the superhero is. So I do agree with you there. I can't. It's A tier for me. Okay, so it's not like I'm not putting it in B or C or anything like that. But it's probably where I had it as my first or second A. So it's right there at S, okay? But
Okay.
you know how I feel about the S tier, and it's reserved for the best of the best.
I understand, and to
I
be
think
perfectly clear, this is not my favorite Spider-Man movie. So if we want to put it in A, I'm not gonna
I
projecting the
think
screen at you.
William Dafoe is what saves this movie. I think he is the perfect villain. Like his facial, like just the actor himself, his facial features and the way he talks and the way he like it's just a perfect Green Goblin villain person. Like I remember being scared watching this movie like as a
Yeah.
kid because of this guy.
Uh-huh.
And so I do agree with you there. I can't get past Toby. I don't think Toby's very good. I've already said that. Um, James Franco, I don't think James Franco's very good. It's pretty early on in his career, and so I just don't think he's super great. Um, and so I had it in A, um, but it's like the first or second A. And so we can leave it in S for now. All right. We both have a veto. So we'll leave it in S for now because there will be some more S's in front of it. We've already said that. And we can figure out later on if we want to keep it there or not.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, no, I just think this is I think the hero of this movie for me is Sam Raimi. I think the director is just so distinct in his vision, really for all three movies, but certainly for this one. So anyway, we can move on.
Okay. All right. Well, that brings us to Spider Man 2, which I think we can both agree that this one is S tier without a doubt. And I'll go first because I'm sure you have tons to say about Spider Man 2. Because I'll just go first. In any of the movies, Doc Ock is probably the best villain of any Spider-Man villain, in my opinion.
Ooh, all right, all right.
Yeah, yeah. I think he's better than Green Goblin. I think he's better than any of the MCU ones. Brand New Day is getting up there. That one was pretty good villain. But Doc Ock is just you know who he is. Like him and Green Goblin, they're just you know that they're Spider-Man villains. You know about them just because they're so iconic. We talked about I don't remember what episode it was, but we talked about sequels, the best sequels out there. And we said at one point in that episode, a good sequel builds on the original. And that's exactly what this movie does. Like a good sequel should do. It builds on the original. Characters have been established, relationships have been established, storylines have been, built, and we know what's going on. Go make a great movie off of that. And that's exactly what happened. Spider-Man 2 is better than the first one. And so it is one of the best sequels. I don't think I had it in my sequels because there's some other pretty good ones out there. And I'm just not a Tobey Maguire fan. So um, let's see, what else did I say? Not a huge fan of Mary Jane in these movies. I'm just not. I think I'm so not passionate, but I think Andrew Garfield and Emma Stone did such a great job that it's hard to live up to their relationship on screen. And so
Yeah.
I don't think the Mary Jane Peter Parker relationship in these movies is super great compared to that one. Obviously, it's good, but compared to that one, it's not. The newspaper Jonah Jameson dude or Jonah Jameson. I had to write it down because I forgot what it was. Jonah
J. Jonah?
Jameson.
Yeah.
He is absolutely perfect. Like
He's so good.
he is so good at his role, and
So good.
and the it plays back into the comics even a little bit. Like he plays that role perfect, and how they
Yeah.
tie that into him being a photographer, Peter Parker being a photographer and working for him, and I just think he is fantastic, and that's another reason that these Spider-Mans are good, is because of him. So that's really all I had. I didn't notice going back and watching all of these. I
Mhm.
didn't notice. Can you tell me? I don't know the answer. I have 3, I think.
Okay.
But can you tell me how many appearances Stan Lee makes in all these movies? Because
I
he's in
thought
Spider-Man 2.
he's in Spider-Man 2. He saves the lady from the falling something.
Whatever falls,
Yeah,
yeah.
whatever falls. And then
Yeah.
I know he's in Spider-Man 1.
Mhm.
I think he's in Spider-Man 3. Does he make one appearance in each of the movies? Does he have a cameo in all?
Maybe he does. I had both of the Amazing Spider-Mans,
Yeah.
and Spider-Man 1 and Spider-Man 2, so he might make them all.
He's in
But
yeah,
that was
I know he's in Homecoming, and he might have he might have passed away after Homecoming. I can't remember.
Okay, so
I
that
think
might be the end of
I
it.
think
But
it because I think his last MCU appearance might have been Captain Marvel, if I'm not
okay,
mistaken,
all right,
which was right after Endgame. So
yeah. Well,
I don't know.
anyway, that was kind of my last thing. There's a little Stan Lee appearance in there for you as well. So
Oh yeah,
Doc Ock's really freaking good. It builds on the original like a good sequel should do. Um, the newspaper guy is phenomenal. Just yeah, it's S tier. It's up there. Best of the best.
I would go just picking up on your J. Jonah Jameson uh, uh, observation. I would go as far as to say that this is probably my favorite comic book casting of all time. Just J. Jonah
It's good.
why am I blanking on the actor's name right now? That's crazy.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, I don't know it. For sure don't
he's
know that.
in everything. That's crazy. J.K. Simmons. Duh.
Oh yeah.
Um, but J.K. Simmons as J. Jonah Jameson is probably my favorite comic book casting ever. Right next to like Heath Ledger's Joker or something. Like it's ridiculous how good he is. Which is kind of a cheat code because it's such a small role, but
It is, but
it's
he does
so
it
perfect.
good.
It's
Yeah.
so perfect. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah. I mean, Spider-Man 2, I think I've talked about on at least 2 or 3 other episodes of Yada Yada for sure. But yeah, I mean, it's my favorite superhero movie of all time. It's bar none. I think it's just the best. It's the definitive exploration of responsibility, of sacrifice, and what it really costs to be a hero. What Peter Parker has to give up to fulfill his responsibility to himself, his to the people of New York, to his uncle. And even though he goes, I mean, this movie just is one punch in the face to Peter after another. I mean, everything that could go wrong goes wrong in this guy's life because he's Spider-Man, because he's doing the thing that he thinks he has to do. Everything goes wrong. And then finally, he decides, if I give this all up, you know what I mean? Can I just be Peter Parker? Is that what I'm, would that make my life better? And for a second, it does. He's able to go to school and be successful. And he's even talking to Mary Jane a little bit, and things are going good. And then there's some things that happen in the city that he doesn't save a guy from getting beat up, and he has a guilty conscience over that. And then there's a burning building, and he doesn't have his powers. He's given up on Spider-Man, and he can't let those people die. And so he runs in there anyways, just as a kid. I mean, he's just a college kid, no powers, and he runs in there and saves people anyways. And that's the kind of person that Peter is, whether or not he has the suit, whether or not he even has the powers. And so I think it's just the best exploration of who Peter is, of what this character means to so many people. It's still operatic like the first one was, but it takes it to new heights. Like you said, it's even better. So yeah, it's a benchmark in superhero films that in my opinion, has still not been beaten to this day. So that's
To
what
this day, I don't know.
to this day. So
There's some pretty good
that's what I
superhero
got.
movies out there, but I know you're passionate about Spider-Man too. So, all right, we'll keep it in S tier. Obviously, it's the first S tier right now. Next up, we have the third in the trilogy, Spider-Man 3, the last Tobey Maguire movie. This one's the one with Venom, the Sandstorm dude. Where do you have Spider-Man 3?
Yeah, Spider-Man 3 is an interesting one because it had so much studio interference. I don't know if you know this, how much you know about the background info on
Probably none.
old Spider-Man 3, but Sam Raimi the director did not like the character of Venom. He didn't want Eddie Brock in the movie. He didn't want Venom in the movie. He wanted it to be completely about Sandman and about Harry turning into, little Goblin Jr. You gonna cry,
Yeah,
little Goblin
right.
Jr.?
Yeah.
But
I have to insert that in there.
but yeah, Sam Raimi did not want it, and it was the studio that pushed him to have it. Avi Arad specifically, who's still at Sony. But yeah, I mean, it's well documented that he didn't know what to do with the Venom character. He wasn't passionate about it, and so he had to work it in as best he could. And unfortunately, the movie suffers a lot because of Venom. I think I don't like Topher Grace as Eddie Brock, but I get why he cast him because they were trying to do like the whole dark Tobey Maguire, and Topher Grace is kind of that Tobey Maguire, uh, look. So, but it's just I have it in B tier because it's just so bloated. I think where this movie succeeds is with I actually love most of the stuff with Harry. Um, I love everything with Sandman. I think I think it's a good exploration of forgiveness and grace and if you strip away a lot of the stuff with Venom, it might be one of the best Spider-Man movies to me. But it just gets so bloated and so overcrowded, and when you're swinging for the fences like that thematically, it can and you're trying to juggle all these different character arcs and Eddie Brock and Evil Harry and Sandman, it becomes way too much. And so I have it in B tier. Um, it's unfortunately not the best. It is super crowded, but it at least is still going for some kind of thematic punch at the end. It's still exploring those classic Spidey themes, but it just is so crowded and bloated, and yeah, it's a lot of the dark Bully Maguire stuff does not work, even though it's so campy that like I'm laughing at the movie's expense, which I don't know if that was what they were going for, but it gets pretty goofy for sure.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of this one. I had seen it one time and I rewatched it to prepare for this. Um, and I don't see myself watching it again. The one thing I had written down was who's the villain?
Yeah,
That's what I had written down. And it ties into what you said. Is it Venom? Is it Goblin Jr.? Is it Sandstorm Sandman dude? Like who is it? Toby? Is it Peter Parker? Is it like his internal battle with himself? Like who is the villain in this movie?
yeah,
Is what like literally the only thing I wrote down with that. Because like you said, it's just too much. I feel like they were trying to get too much into one movie, maybe. Which with your backstory of the director not wanting Venom in the movie, that makes sense. I the only reason it's not in D is because I've watched it another time to prepare for this movie, so I had it in C. I probably won't watch it again. It's just not. There's just too many other good Spider-Man movies out there. Even to, I say I wouldn't watch it again. If I wanted to watch all three Tobey Maguires, like you kind of have to watch this one to solidify the trilogy. That would probably be the only reason I would watch it again. So I guess we can leave it in B, but it's probably the last B on my list. So we'll leave it in B for now, and
yeah.
I'm sure there will be some ones that are put in front of it.
That's fair enough. I have fun with this movie, but I acknowledge it is just a class below the first two. So
Yeah, no doubt. All right, moving on. We are done with the Tobey Maguire movies. Thank goodness. We are moving into two of the Spider-Mans that I had never seen before. And I am glad we're doing this episode because I had a good time with both of them. Okay, so there's a little sneak peek. But The Amazing Spider-Man with Andrew Garfield, the first of the Amazing Spider-Man duo, I guess you could say.
Mhm.
Um, I'll talk about it. I loved this movie. You know, like I said, I had never seen
Wow.
it.
Yeah.
And so I enjoy it. Now I'm a huge Andrew Garfield fan. I think he's fantastic in just about everything that he does. Um, that being said, there's a couple of things about this movie that keep it out of where I think it should be. Okay,
Okay.
or it puts it where I think it should be. First, the lizard villain, it just doesn't cut it for me. It's a little bit too like I like the I think it's a good idea. Like he lives in the sewers and he's lab made by a mad scientist that's trying to help people and that kind of stuff. Like it's a good theory, but like you just can't make the word lizard, you just can't make it like sound scary or like
Right.
sound villainy, like Green Goblin, like that sounds like a
Yeah.
villain. You
And
know what I mean?
even like Batman has a villain called Killer Croc, which is goofy, but it has a ring to it. Like the
Yeah.
lizard just does not have a ring to it.
No, or like the Penguin. Like I've never even seen that movie, but I know that villain. I just can't take you serious if your villain name is the Penguin. And I felt that way with the Lizard. I don't even know if he has a name other than the Lizard. And
Dr.
so,
Connors. There you
well, I
go.
know that, but like the actual the villain itself. So the villain it dropped it down an entire tier for me.
Yeah.
Or pretty much a tier. I don't have it in S tier. I have it in A tier. I have the Amazing Spider-Man in A tier. I will
Ah.
definitely be watching this movie again.
Hmm.
It's not the best of the best. It's not at the top of A tier. It's kind of right in the middle of the A tiers. But I had it in A tier, and I enjoyed it. Like I said in the kind of the intro with my rankings, I love the relationship between Peter Parker and Gwen. I think it's the best romance in all of the Spider-Man movies. Um, and like I said, I think Andrew Garfield is really good at his role in just about any movie he does. And so that's where I had it. I had it in A tier. I know, like you said, I asked you about the movies. He said either you love it or you hate it, and I loved it. I loved the Amazing Spider-Man, and so I think it's a great movie, but I don't think it's the best of the best, and therefore I have it in A tier.
Okay. Well, this is how I know we should have brought a third person on here.
I thought about asking you, do you have anybody that has seen them all and wants to talk about it? Because we're not going to agree on any of these.
Look,
I don't think
I
you're an Andrew Garfield Spider-Man fan.
here's what I will concede about Andrew about the points that you made. I do agree that uh, or here's what I'll say. I think Andrew Garfield and Emma Stone are the best actors
Yep.
of any of the leads of any Spider-Man movie.
Yep.
I think of all of them, they are definitely by far the best actors. And
Actors.
so actors, and so that I will concede. Um, but going back to what I talked about with my two questions that I'm asking, I do think that it reveals some things about the man behind the mask. I think it's asking some pretty cool thematic questions. But at the end of the day, for me, I don't think it justifies its existence. I
Really?
just, I just feel like if I want to watch a Peter Parker Spider-Man origin story, I'm gonna watch the first Tobey movie. I don't know how much what new things this version of the origin story is giving to me. All right. I think this movie suffers a lot from being released right after or coming in the wake of The Dark Knight, because right after The Dark Knight comes out, everybody wants to be The Dark Knight. Everybody wants to be dark and serious and gritty and grounded. And I think this movie's a direct product of that. And I don't think it works with Spider-Man. Um, we'll get to the second movie, but I think they're like, oh, maybe it doesn't work with Spider-Man. Let's go the complete opposite. And so there's just, I think they're, like I said, I like Andrew as an actor, but I don't know how much I like him as Peter Parker. I think his Spider-Man is not bad. I like him as Spider-Man, which is kind of what I was thinking when you were talking to me about when you were telling me about what your coach thought. Um, because I kind of feel the opposite. I feel like he's a really good Spider-Man. Um, but I'm not so sure that I like his Peter Parker. I think his Peter Parker is kind of just too cool, too handsome, like too. He's just like, do I really believe that that guy's gonna get bullied Not really. Like, he's just the coolest. He's skateboarding around, he looks like Andrew Garfield, and so he could probably get some girls.
Clearly, Emma Stone.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't really buy his take on Peter Parker, even if I really do like his take on Spider-Man. But those are kind of two distinct things to me. Um, but yeah, so I actually had this movie in C tier.
Oh
Um,
man.
yeah, I just like I said, I don't think it distinguishes itself enough from the original Raimi movie to justify me watching it again over Tobey's first one. Like I said, I think it's trying too hard to be gritty. I think that I think that Dr. Connors and the Lizard is just a worse version of um, kind of, I mean, you can pick your poison, but of Green Goblin or Doc Ock. He's just kind of a worse version of those two things. So I don't think that works. Like you said, the villain is kind of what brings it down for you. Definitely brings it down for me. I don't know that Peter learns his lesson at the end of this movie when
Clearly.
he just kind of says, but I mean, he just breaks his promise to dead Captain Stacy. So
Right.
that always kind of struck me as weird.
Mhm.
Like,
Well, he learns
okay.
his lesson in the second one, that's for sure.
Yeah, that is for sure. But yeah, I don't know what they were going for but those are the best kind. Those promises are the best.
Yeah.
So
The ones that you break, those are the best kind.
yeah, I don't know if I agree with that,
Yeah. Okay.
but yeah, I just don't think. But I think this does have my favorite. You're talking about Stan Lee cameos. I'm pretty sure this is the movie that has my favorite Stan Lee cameo because there's a fight in I think it's the library or something. Maybe he's the librarian, and there's just a bunch of crazy crap happening, and he's just got
Yeah.
headphones on.
Yeah, he's just putting books up and walking
And just
around.
listening to music. You don't even hear him, but
Yeah. It's
that
him
is
and the lizard. It's
yeah, that is
Spider-Man and the lizard. They're just
that
going crazy,
oh,
throwing each
yeah.
other through
It's
walls and stuff.
yeah, it's probably my favorite Stan Lee cameo in any movie, but
Yeah.
it's not my favorite movie overall, so I do have it in C tier.
C tier. Okay. Well, I'm gonna not veto it, but I'm going
Law of
to
average?
yeah, what's the compromise? And
Yeah,
I'm
I
gonna
agree.
put it in B because I can go with B. I
Hey,
would watch it again, but it wouldn't be my first choice. I wouldn't watch I agree with you. I wouldn't watch it over the first Spider-Man, Tobey's first Spider-Man. I completely agree with you there. I think that one's better, but
There
I
are a
would
lot of
watch it again.
people yeah, there are a lot of people where Andrew Garfield is the definitive live action version of Spider-Man for them, so I don't I mean, I like hearing that just because it's kinda different.
Yeah. Yeah.
People that love these movies, I feel like there's not a huge swath of people that love these movies, so
Yeah.
when they do, I sympathize with you.
Well, you're welcome. So I'm gonna put it in B, all right, and I'm gonna put it above Spider-Man 3 because I would watch The Amazing Spider-Man over Spider-Man 3.
Yeah, I won't argue too
Okay,
hard with you.
perfect. All right, now The Amazing Spider-Man 2. That is a different story for the lover of Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man. I am putting this in D tier.
Wow.
I watched it one time
Yeah.
strictly for this episode, and I will not be watching it again. It's not good to me. I struggled to get through it. I texted you one time and said, "I'm trying to finish The Amazing Spider-Man 2." It's hard to get through. The villain once again, they missed the mark on the villains in The Amazing Spider-Mans. The villain
Yeah.
in this movie, Jamie Foxx, I'm sorry, but he is not a villain.
How
He
he's
was not good. He
this
was just
take
not good.
yeah, it was
Like,
rough.
you could tell it was just he's not a dorky lab scientist dude. Like, he's not. It's like putting Michael B. Jordan in there. Like, you can't put Michael B. Jordan in a dorky comb over with braces and glasses. Like, you just can't do that. He doesn't fit the role. And so Jamie Foxx as the villain was absolutely horrible. Um, the only good and touching, and you can sympathize with this because of your love for these kind of movies. The only good and touching part of this movie is Gwen dying, and Peter Parker kind of learning his lesson of, you know, I should have listened basically to her dad. I should have kept my promise to her dad, because otherwise she wouldn't be in this situation. But their relationship, I love the relationship in the movie. How they don't. Peter Parker doesn't want to, be with her based on the promise to her dad. And she keeps saying, well, it's not my dad's choice. It's my choice. It's your choice and things like that. And so it's kind of her fault, in my opinion. But the relationship between them two is really the only good thing about this movie. And her ultimately dying, is kind of the capstone of it and makes it bearable, I guess. But I will not be watching The Amazing Spider-Man 2 ever again if I can help it, because it just was not good. I like the idea of the villain,
Mhm.
using electricity and things like that, and still tying it to Oscorp. I liked that, but just the casting, the Jamie Foxx was just bad.
It
Not
was rough.
because it's
Rough.
Jamie Foxx. He's just not a villain, and so I have it in D tier.
I did like how, when he fell in the vat of electric eels and got his powers, that it closed his gap in
Yeah,
his teeth. That was
now
interesting.
he's a cool dude. Yeah. Well, and then yeah, and then and we haven't talked about this, but
Yeah.
in No Way Home, like, okay, why are you not blue? What happened to you? You're
Right.
wearing the suit. You're wearing the suit that it's kind of like Venom too. I forgot about this part too. It's kind of like Venom or Spider-Man 3. Like
Mhm.
there's two villains in this movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's the Osborn, it's Harry and Jamie Foxx as well. So
Mhm.
there's just too much going on, and neither of them were very good. I didn't think the Harry Osborn in this movie was very good either. I don't think he's a good actor, really. I just didn't think he was super good. And so I don't think I like any of the Harry Osborns, James Franco or this other dude, but that's a
That's fair
different
enough.
story. So
Yeah.
anyway, I have
No,
it in D tier.
I don't think this is a very good movie. I actually didn't have it I had it in C tier as well. Um, so this and The Amazing Spider-Man,
Yeah,
were
you had them both in there.
in the same tier for me. I do
Yeah.
think that, I think that this movie learned some lessons from the first one. I think it took some of the stuff that worked in the first one and made it even better, like, some of the relationship stuff with Gwen works just as good, if not better, in this movie. Obviously, the whole, Gwen dying, you're right. I think that that is a very powerful death, and I think that it is probably the best moment that Andrew Garfield Spider-Man has had in either one of his movies. Um, but yeah, no, it doesn't. The rest of it does not come together. Dane DeHaan's Harry is not great, and his
That's his
Goblin
actor name, Dane DeHaans.
Dane DeHaan, yeah, he
Yeah,
is
he
not
ain't Dane
not
ain't very
great.
good. No.
Yeah, not kinda his Goblin's pretty disgusting, so that's one.
Yeah.
Pretty sick
It's
nasty,
yeah.
and I think that if you didn't have Harry in here, that maybe Electro could have worked. I don't think the execution with Electro was good, but I feel like if he was the main villain and they could have put more time and effort into making sure that, because I think again, I think studio interference got in the way of this movie, but you could tell from a lot of the scenes that they're trying to set up and rush a Sinister Six movie with all these, like, there's that scene where you have, like, all of the classic Spider-Man villains in the background in, like, tanks or
Yeah.
something,
Mhm.
and they're trying to rush to a Sinister Six movie, and, that's what happens when when a studio interferes with creatives and gets in the way and tries to think they know how to tell a story,
Mhm.
stuff like this happens, and so, and the director of this movie has been pretty upfront with that kind of stuff, and you can just tell from behind the scenes, but it is a shame because, again, this is some of my favorite Spider-Man action. I think his
The
suit,
action is pretty
like I
good.
said,
Yeah.
yeah, and I think his suit looks great.
Mhm.
It was my favorite suit, like I said, until Brand New Day. This is my favorite Spider-Man suit. I love the big eyes. I think Andrew's Spider-Man is this was my favorite iteration of Spider-Man himself, not Peter Parker, just Spider-Man
Hmm.
until, yeah. So I really liked Spider-Man in this movie, but there's a bunch of other crap surrounding it, and again, it kind of has the same problem as Spider-Man 3, where it gets so bloated and so swerves so far off the path of where it could have been. You're like, there's a great movie in here somewhere, but you didn't take the time to shed all the extra crap and just focus on what you needed to. So it's a frustrating movie for me because I really want to like it and I like Andrew in this role, but I've had it in C tier. So whatever you want
Yeah.
to do with that.
Well, we're leaving it in D because it's probably going to be the only one in there that I say that.
Fair enough.
I can't remember. I think it's the only D I have. So I'm going to leave it in D. All right. There's the Andrew Garfield ones. Moving into the MCU and Tom Holland. The probably him and Zendaya are probably the two most famous actors on earth right now. You know,
Yeah,
that
for
might
sure.
be a debate, but those two, the Odyssey, Spider-Man, like, man, they made bank this summer, let me tell you.
You're killing it.
All right, Spider-Man Homecoming, the first of the Spider-Man MCU. This is not the first time we see Spider-Man. Okay, the first time we see this Spider-Man is in Captain America: Civil War, but this is the first of his own movies, and so Spider-Man: Homecoming. Let me see where I had this one. Let me pull it back up. I had this one in B tier. I think it's a good movie, but and I would watch it again, but it's not going to be my first choice. I would choose The Amazing Spider-Man over Spider-Man: Homecoming, obviously because I had it in A tier, but I would put it, I'd put it right here. I think it's better than Spider-Man 3. I just, I, one of the things I wrote down for this movie is in the villain, all I see is Captain Gene from the other guys. That's all I see the entire time, and him and his Bed Bath and Beyond job or whatever he has.
The only time because I really like Vulture in this movie, but the only time that Captain Gene comes out is that scene where he's he's talking to the Shocker and he's like, "You're the Shocker, you're just shocking people, just shocking them." It's like that's Captain Gene right there.
I just can't get past it. I can't, and I don't know if that's a reason to keep it lower, but I think this. I'll go ahead and tell you this is my least favorite of the Marvel Spider-Mans.
I expected you to put this movie a lot higher. I don't know why.
Yeah, I just didn't. No, it used to be like it's the first of the here's why it's not lower. Okay,
Yeah.
and this probably isn't going to come to a shock to you, but it's got Iron Man in it. That's one of the main reasons I would watch it again is because it's got more Marvel characters in it, and
Yeah.
it's not just Spider-Man versus Voltron because I don't like I like the tie into whatever. I like the tie into the Avengers, like they're cleaning up the Avengers in New York and it's post, Avengers movie. But that's not Spider-Man. That's Avengers, I feel like. And so I didn't like the Spider-Man aspect of it. And so it's my least favorite of the Marvel Spider-Mans. That's not saying a whole lot because the other three are absolutely fantastic. And so I've got this one in B tier. Well, that's really all I have about it.
Well, I was ready to go toe to toe with you on this one, but I also have it in B tier.
Okay,
so
good.
I'll leave it right there. But yeah, I mean, I think my problem with it, Homecoming is to me, it's a very entertaining MCU movie. It's a cool. I mean, it's the best
Yes.
look. I think it's the best high school Peter Parker that we've seen, if that makes sense, because it's all
That was another.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was another thing I wanted to say was in the original thing, like Tom Holland is the only one that looks like a high school kid. You
Right.
know, the Spider-Man, the original Spider-Man, Spider-Man 2, like they don't look like high school kids. They look like adults or college kids. And so it doesn't vibe. But Tom Holland, he looks like a high school kid. Zendaya looks like a high school kid. Ned looks like a high school kid.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you there. Yeah, this is the most quintessential high school Spider-Man movie for me. Um, and that's mostly to do with the fact that in Spider-Man 1 they graduate halfway through the movie. So like
Yeah.
the back half of that movie is they're pretty much all the way on their own,
Right.
adults and stuff like that. So um but yeah, I mean it's super entertaining. I think it's a fun, very, very fun MCU movie. Kind of the, you know, Back to the Future type movie. You know, kind of Breakfast Clubby. But I think where it fails is that the thematic question that it's asking and the lessons that Peter learns in this, um, they're very I feel like they're very, like, adolescent or something. Like, there's nothing, you know, like, he learns that being Spider-Man isn't about Stark Tech, you know?
Mhm.
It's not you know, being Spider-Man's about doing the right thing even when there's no benefit to you, you know, because this whole movie he's trying to prove himself to Tony Stark. He hates school, which is kind of, you know, not what I felt. I mean, I get that Peter Parker wouldn't want school, maybe because he's being bullied or something, but he doesn't want to go to school because he just wants to be Spider-Man 24/7. And I've
Mhm.
always felt like, you know, no, Peter wants to be Peter. You know, Spider-Man should be, and I know this might be a cliche too, but I feel like the more Spider-Man does Spider-Man things, the more it should have a negative effect on Peter's life. And you know, I think you could probably rank my favorite Spider-Man movies by, you know, how miserable Peter Parker is. Like the what he's learning is that being a hero isn't about being an Avenger. That's the first lessons he learns, which seems pretty surface level.
Yeah.
And then again, the whole responsibility thing that he learns is that you know, it means making the right choice when nobody's watching you, when it doesn't get you extra points to become, you know, to get into the Avengers Club and prove to himself that he's worthy of Tony Stark's technology or whatever it is. And then the third thing he learns is that, you know, anyway, I just don't think that it's asking very interesting questions about Peter. I think it's a fun high school movie, but I don't think once you start digging underneath the surface that there's very much to dig. You know what I mean? Very much stuff to get out of it. So I have it in B tier just because it's fun, but that's about it.
I agree. I think it's a fun. I think it's entertaining, and I like somewhat his suit. I like the, you know, the kind of with the
The
yellow
suits,
coat and
yeah, the
um
suit's cool. I do think that in some scenes it looks like super animated, like not animated, but you can tell like they it almost looks AI'd over. You know
yeah,
what I mean? Like it looks very like you can't like not very tactile. Like you can't touch it. It just looks super like animated on top. So
yeah.
it's just weird.
All
But
right. Well,
okay.
there you go. Spider-Man: Homecoming. We'll keep it in B tier, and we both agree on that. Um, the next in the MCU Spider-Man movies is after Avengers: Endgame. Tony Stark has died, and so Spider-Man: No Way Home. I'm sorry, Spider-Man: Far From Home um, is the next one. Jake Gyllenhaal is the villain. Mysterio, I think. Yeah, Mysterio's his name. So where do you have Spider-Man: Far From Home? I think this one goes into the like, okay, we're not even in New York. Like, what's going on here? Kind of thing, you know?
Yeah, no, this is my only movie that I have in D tier.
Really?
This is the only one that I have in D tier. This is really the only Spider-Man movie that I wouldn't go back and rewatch ever.
Wow.
I think I enjoy. I
That's
think
crazy.
I think parts of it are fun, like Homecoming. Parts of it are fun. I don't like that we got back to back of Spider-Man movie in Washington D.C. and then a Spider-Man movie in Europe. You know,
Mhm.
now
Yeah.
that now looking back, like we have finally gotten that classic Tom Holland Spider-Man MCU in New York, but
Mhm.
to that point, we hadn't yet, and he had appeared in the MCU. This is, I mean, his 4th appearance in the MCU because he was 5th appearance. Sorry, he was in
Yeah.
Civil War, and then he had his solo movie, and then he was Infinity War and Endgame, and this is the 5th Spider-Man appearance in the MCU, and we still haven't seen him in New York, and he still hasn't been given a classic Spider-Man movie, and that was kind of crazy to me. Is that's part of the frustratingness of this movie. Like I said, parts of it are fun, and I think the action sequence at the end with Mysterio, I like Jake Gyllenhaal a lot as an actor. I think he delivers a great performance as Mysterio, but I don't like the character of Mysterio, specifically his motivations, because they're completely centered around Tony Stark. He hates Tony Stark, and he wants revenge on Tony Stark. I mean, that's kind of his motivation, is that Tony Stark wronged him, and now he wants to take over his legacy and use it for his own stuff. And that's kind of almost basically what he accomplishes. But I don't like the fact that Mysterio was kind of, his motivations were hijacked by Tony Stark, kind of again, because the Vulture, his motivation was more towards, hating Tony as well. So that happens again with Mysterio. And I just feel like this is the Spider-Man movie that is the least interested in Spider-Man himself, in Peter. I just feel like it spends way too much of the movie reacting to what happened in Endgame, reacting to Tony Stark's legacy. I also think it's really, really stupid. One of the most stupid things that the MCU has ever done is for Tony Stark to leave one of the most powerful weapons basically in the world, with his drone tech and goggles that can control the most, basically just Iron Man goggles.
Yeah.
I don't think it was a good choice for him to leave those to a sophomore or junior in high school, 16-year-old kid. I think that was really stupid. I don't know when he would have done that, between the time he was snapped in Infinity War to the time he died in Endgame, right before. I mean, you know what I mean? That doesn't make any sense to me. I think it's really makes Tony seem more dumb that he gave this to a kid that was 16 years old. And obviously a kid like that is not ready for it. Tom hasn't learned how to be responsible with anything in the MCU yet. And so, yeah, and it starts with that whole joke with all the fallen Avengers at the very beginning, which I laughed, but I'm like, looking back at it, I'm like, that's kind of seems in bad taste to start with all of the fallen Avengers at the very first of the movie. I
Yeah.
get that it's a joke, but I just think that this is just, I just really don't like this movie at all. Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. I don't have it in D. I have it my last B. At least right now, my last B. And the I agree with what you're saying, and I'm on board. I feel the same way. I feel like this is a Tony Stark, Iron Man, like, we got to find the next one. And they even say that,
Yeah,
like, in the movie, like
yeah.
they want him to be the next Iron Man. He's not. He's Spider-Man.
Right,
He's not the next Iron Man. He's Spider-Man. And so I feel like it's basically what you said. I feel the same way. It's Spider-Man cleaning up Iron Man's mess. Or
right,
Tony Stark's mess, I
and
guess.
even making it worse. I mean, if that's what you're exploring, then okay, explore it. But then, like, what are the 3 things that Peter goes through in this movie? I feel like the first thing is that, he says, like, I don't want to be Iron Man. He leaves the suit at home when he goes to Europe. Like, so he goes through that.
Yeah.
Like, he goes through the whole, I don't want this responsibility, you know? And then he befriends, Mysterio, befriends Beck, and he realizes, maybe I don't have to have it. Maybe this guy can take this whole responsibility from me, you know? So let
Yep.
me just give him these glasses. His mentor, I mean, they're setting up Tony Stark to be his Uncle Ben figure because he
Hmm.
hadn't had an Uncle Ben. He
Right.
hasn't had his somebody die that really, really close to him other than Tony. So up to this point in the MCU with Tom Holland, this is the closest we've gotten to an Uncle Ben figure is actually Tony Stark. And he completely just gives away Tony's legacy to Beck, which again, I hate the decision, but he's a 16-year-old kid, so that reflects more terribly on Tony than it does Peter for me. But then, what he learns at the end basically is like, oh no, I have to do this myself. And then to do it himself, he plays back in black like he's Tony Stark and builds himself a new Tony Stark tech Spider-Man suit. You know what I mean? Like that's the big sequence that we're gonna do. I don't know. It just this is the one that felt the most like Iron Boy Jr. You know what I mean?
Yes.
This is a critique of Tom Holland Spider-Man is that he's, Iron Man, Iron Boy Jr., and that this is the one I think that suffers the most from being a part of the MCU because I feel like they were just throwing things in. Threw in Nick Fury, they threw in, just all this crap that that just is there because oh, he's part of this universe. Like, let's just we can use these characters, so let's use them.
Right.
But none of the MCU characters serve Peter in any way. I don't think
Hmm.
they don't. You don't learn anything new about Peter because of them, and so I think it fails pretty miserably. And I have no desire to ever watch the movie again. So
Yeah. I obviously I liked the scene of him building his new suit and then starting to play Back in Black because it is a tie back to Iron Man, and kind of him becoming the new Iron Man. I liked the scene, but the fact that this is a Spider-Man movie, I feel like they're trying to make it about Iron Man, um, and about Tony Stark, and so it would have been great in like in like it's kind of like a Captain America in you know Thor's hammer. Like that's a cool scene, but it's in
yeah,
an Avengers movie. It's not in a Captain America movie where, "Oh, here's Thor's hammer." I thought this was Captain America. Like,
right.
this is a Spider-Man movie. "Oh, here's Iron Man. He's making his own suit and he's back in black and Happy's smiling about it because he knows like, oh, he sees Tony Stark in him." And so I liked the scene, but I just didn't like the movie that the scene was in, if that makes
Yeah,
sense.
and it's so weird too because the movie it like by the end of the movie it's trying to tell us like hey like Peter is building like Spider-Man's creating his own legacy now. He's not going to be Iron Man Jr. anymore. But that's what it's telling us.
Yeah.
But visually,
Right.
everything that's happening, he's in Tony's jet. He's using Tony's technology.
Mhm.
He's got the, Tony's AI stuff. He's
Yep.
got the holographic workshop. Like everything is
Mhm.
screaming, "Look at Iron Boy Jr. go!" When the
Yep.
movie's telling us, "No, he's got his own legacy now."
Mhm.
And it's not. I mean, it takes another whole movie for us to get to completely away from Iron Man where Spider-Man has his own identity in the MCU. So
Yeah.
I just think that's what makes this kind of not watchable again for me. So
Yeah. So you've got it in D tier. I had it in uh my lowest B, I believe. Yeah, I had it in my lowest B. So we'll put it in C for now.
okay, that's
All
fair.
right. And we've both seen it more than once. Or I guess
Yeah,
you maybe haven't seen it more than once, but
I've seen it
um
twice. So yeah.
okay, so we'll put it in C. Um and we'll go from there. Next up, we have the first of the multiverse, or not multiverse, Spider-Verse series, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. And I know you're really high on this one, and so I'll let you do your little spiel and tell me where you have it.
Oh yeah, I have this movie in S tier, baby.
Shocker,
I
we're
have
just
it.
getting crowded, man.
I have it in S tier. Uh, and Spider-Man is, I mean, other than like Spider-Man and Batman are kind of fighting for my favorite superhero spot. I might edge Batman over a little bit, but just so you know, and I do love, I mean, my list is very top heavy because of that. And
Yes.
I think Spider-Man is one of the most consistent superhero franchises when it comes to how well, just the consistency of how good some of these movies get. Now the bad moments are very bad, but the good of the Spider-Man movies outweigh the bad. But Into the Spider-Verse, anyone can wear the mask. That's such a cool theme. I love every single character in here. Miles Morales is um he's a great Spider-Man. He goes through a really cool hero's journey. It offers, going back to those two questions that I talked about before this started. What does it reveal about the man behind the mask, and what unique vision does it bring that no other Spider-Man film does? Visually, this is probably the coolest this is probably the most comic booky a movie, excuse me, I'll rephrase that. This is the most comic booky a comic book movie has ever looked. This looks like a comic book. The animation is so cool, so unique, it's so groundbreaking, really. Um, and I think it's another perfect origin story. I think it's a perfect Spider-Man movie. Um, the animation is revolutionary. Peter B. Parker is such a sympathetic mentor figure. I mean, he's gone through. He's Peter Parker at his worst, and yet, even though Peter Parker's at his worst, he still finds a way to be a great mentor to Miles. He still finds a way to be a hero and to mentor that next generation. And it's great at exploring, that the fact that heroism is a choice. And I love the journey that we take with Miles for him to make that choice. I think the chemistry between the whole cast is great. Like I could talk about the animation style all day long. But really it's the script and the characters that bring this movie to life. And I understand that it can get a little wacky and out of hand with so much. I mean, we talked about how Spider-Man 3 and The Amazing Spider-Man 2 are crowded. Talk about crowded, it's this movie.
Yeah.
And yet, for me, it I feel like every character, besides like some of the really side Spider-Man, like the Spider Pig and the uh, Japanese Spider-Man robot lady,
Mhm.
and even Spider Noir, which I love because Nick Cage is awesome.
Yeah.
But um, those characters, I don't think did anything for Miles's arc, but Gwen's character certainly did, and Peter B. Parker's certainly did, and it's a great Aunt May appearance. And even the Peter Parker at the very beginning, played by Chris Pine, my favorite Hollywood Chris. Um, Even Peter Parker at the beginning of this movie that dies in a kids movie. He just straight up gets beat to death by
Mhm.
Kingpin. Um, that's pretty dark, but even that Peter is it showcases who Peter Parker is, and he's a great mentor to Miles in the brief interaction that they have in that one scene. You understand everything about Peter. You understand what works about him and Miles's relationship, and then all of a sudden it's destroyed, and Peter B has to fill that spot. Anyway, I just think this is a perfect, really, honestly, a perfect superhero movie, and so I do have it in S tier.
All right. I don't, obviously. I have it in A tier. I think that I think it's great. I think it's a great movie. I hadn't seen it in a while. Um, I watched it when it came out, and I liked it when it came out. Um, I watched it again, obviously, to prepare for this, but I don't know. It's not on the same level as what I have in S tier, in my opinion. And so I have it in A tier. And so we'll leave it in S for now because there is no A's right now. So I don't
Sure.
know. I mean, what is this? 2, 1, into. So we'll leave it in S for now. And then at the end, if we want to go crazy, we can go crazy with our vetoes. But yeah, I mean, I agree with everything you said. I think it's great. I just don't think it's the best of the best. I don't think it's on the same level as the other ones. And so I had it in A, but we'll keep it in S for now. Okay.
All right.
Now, the next one. Spider-Man No Way Home. What a
No.
fantastic movie. Oh, it's such a good movie, man. Such a good movie. I have this in S tier. In fact, I have it in front of all of these, obviously, because I don't have any of these in S tier. But I have it in S tier. It's so good. It's so good. First of all, the elephant in the room of this movie, all three Spider-Mans coming back because of Doctor Strange's, abilities and his spell. But obviously that's great. But this is, and I think you might reference this, and you've kind of already talked about it. This is like the first Tom Holland MCU Spider-Man movie that we get. This is the first time he kind of has this internal struggle of, I would rather everybody forget I even existed than to do than to save the world. I would rather forget everybody existed, or for everybody forget I existed. And so obviously that happens. The spell gets messed up. Blah blah blah. Not to go back over what the movie is, but I think his internal struggle is something that's taken to a new level in all of the Spider-Mans. It's different because it's Marvel and we're talking about the entire world. Like he would rather save the entire world. And so his internal struggle is starting to take a new level in the Tom Holland MCU movies. He's maturing. He's older, obviously. Peter Parker's older. And so he's started to mature a little bit. He's been through, obviously, Washington, D.C. He's been through Europe with Mysterio. And so he's starting to mature. The what's his name? Zendaya, their relationship is kind of where it needs to be. She knows who he is. Ned knows who he is, and so that relationship is established. And so that kind of tugs at your heartstrings a little bit when he says, "I would rather them forget who I am." And so I think it's a great movie. I love Happy in this movie. I know that doesn't have anything to do with Spider-Man, but I love Happy in this movie. And so I have Spider-Man No Way Home. That is my S tier. Ned's newfound ability, his kind of wizardry ability to open portals and things like that, is good. The fact that they were able to get all three Spider-Mans, the same actors, all the villains, the same actors from the villains, was awesome. And so I have Spider-Man No Way Home in the S tier, because I think it's the best of the best.
Before I tell you where I have this movie, I will say that Spider-Man No Way Home, the first time I saw this in theaters, because I saw it twice in theaters, I think, maybe 3 times.
Probably.
The first time I saw Spider-Man No Way Home in theaters is still to this day my favorite theater going experience that I've ever had. And because I had avoided as much of the spoilers as I could, there were rumors that they were going to come back, but nothing had been confirmed. Strikingly enough, like there was nothing that I had seen that had actually confirmed Tobey and Andrew in the movie. And so when Andrew comes through that portal and Tobey comes through the portal, I literally I couldn't hear any of the dialogue because my theater just erupted in applause. It was so
That is
awesome.
so cool.
It was
That is
so good.
awesome.
I wasn't even mad that I couldn't hear what the heck Tobey or Andrew were saying because everybody was just clapping and going crazy.
That's
And
awesome.
it was such a fun experience. That said, I do have this at the top of A tier for me.
My gosh.
I know. I have it at the top of A tier or near the top of A tier. but the reason that I have it in A tier and not S tier is that I feel like it first of all, I do think this is the most other than maybe Far From Home, like, this movie, a lot of it feels very like, visually, it looks very MCU-y to me. This might be the most MCU-y looking movie, and I mean that slightly in a negative way, in that it looks like a lot of the CGI didn't have enough time to get finished. There's a lot of stuff that just doesn't look good. Um, I I feel like I can clearly tell how much of it is animated, and it's just that kinda takes me out of the movie a little bit. Um, it's a little overstuffed, but not too bad. The what holds and I'd said at the beginning that I'm more of a fan of character over plot, like, I can forgive a messy plot like I do with Spider-Man 3 if there's some good character moments, and that's why I think that's a B tier movie, but, um, this might be the worst one of the worst plot the first half of this movie, I just don't like the plot at all. It's just revolving around Peter trying to get into college. So that's one thing. It's just Peter trying to get into college, and the fact that so he's trying to get into college, and so the result of him trying to get in college is that the multiverse gets cracked wide open and the world almost gets destroyed. And I just find it really hard to believe that Doctor Strange, in all his infinite wisdom and with all of the time that he's spent with the time stone, looking into different variations of the future, I just find it really hard to believe that Doctor Strange would just, yeah, sure. Like, I'll make a spell and like it's just really crazy to me that Doctor Strange would do that spell and risk destroying everything for Peter and his buddies to get into college. It seems crazy to me. I
So
don't like.
that
Yeah,
can be the complete you can it all depends on like this is how I take it. I take it as like I said his internal struggle in this movie is kind of the first time it's not about Tony, it's not about Iron Man, it's about Peter Parker and
yeah,
what Peter Parker wants. And what Peter Parker wants is he wants to go to MIT.
yeah.
He wants to be MJ's or what's her name Zendaya's girlfriend.
Hmm.
Okay, they want to all live together and he wants to live his life as Peter Parker. And so he is willing to risk everything in order to do that. That's how you can that's why it's S tier for me, but you're kind of taking it as like it isn't a Spider-Man plot, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
I
no,
think this is the Peter Parker that we've wanted in the past two MCU Spider-Man movies. We're finally getting it.
see,
He wants to go to college and he wants to be normal, but
uh
he just can't because
and
he's Spider-Man and everybody
yeah,
knows it.
yeah, and I think by the time we get to I think what makes this movie A tier, besides the fact that Toby and Andrew come back and it's awesome and it's a fun event. This is the greatest event Spider-Man movie. I think what I still don't think that Tom becomes classic Spider-Man until the end of this movie, and that sacrifice is really poignant. And that sacrifice plays a big part, spoiler alert, in Brand New Day. And I think that is a really great that's the best part of the movie by far for me is him saying, being that classic Peter Parker and saying, "You have to make everybody forget who I am." Like, he's ready to just throw away his whole life to save the universe,
Mhm.
and that's such a Peter Parker thing. That's what, that's what people do in the Spider-Verse movies, and that is classic quintessential Peter Parker. And and I love that sacrifice, and that's one of my favorite scenes in all of Spider-Man. And of course, and even the fan servicey stuff of it, where all the villains coming back, but in particular with Toby and Andrew coming back, I felt like, oh, they're gonna come back and they're gonna have a glorified cameo, and it's gonna be really fan servicey. And it's like, oh yeah, look, there they are, everyone cheers, and that's it. but they had actual, like, there were real characters in this movie. Like, they taught Tom Holland lessons that he needed to learn, you know? They connected with each other on a very, very personal and poignant way that I did not see coming whatsoever, but it was really cool.
Mhm.
Um, I just don't think that this is as singular of a vision as the movies that I have in S tier. I think it's still kind of the plot's still a little wacky to me. It's, but I do love this movie. I have it in A tier,
Yeah,
you know?
right.
I just don't think it's as completely, like, shed the fat, like, this is a perfect movie. Like, it's not like that for me, whereas everything I have in S tier, it's so.
Yeah. Well, now we have to decide.
I
We've
mean,
got we've got
like I
4
said,
in S tier and none in A tier. How is that even possible?
good lord.
Well, you've got
Uh,
3 in S, so I'm gonna keep mine in S for now,
yeah,
and you
yeah,
can veto at some point if you want to.
okay,
Alright.
alright.
Alright, next, we got 2 more. We got an hour and 40 minutes in. Alright, we got Spider-Man Across the Multiverse. What do you got
Yes.
about this one?
I have this movie in A tier.
Hey,
Finally, an A tier movie
there you
that we
go.
can maybe
And
agree
we
on.
agree
We'll
because I
see.
have it in
Okay,
A as well. So,
good.
yep.
Yeah, I don't think this is the and really the only thing holding this movie back for me, because I do think that it reaches the same highs that Into the Spider-Verse got to, but it feels like half a movie. Like, it just cuts off right when it gets juicy, you know?
Yeah,
Right when it starts picking up and it's like, "Holy crap, this is what's going on," and then it just, you know? And we don't have that second one to be able to judge it, you know? It's almost like I can judge Infinity War without Endgame because if you look at it more as like a Thanos movie, it's like like he set out, he did his thing, and that's it, and he won. But, you can't really do that with this movie, um, because I just feel like it's half a story, it's half a movie, even though it's 2 hours long or whatever. It really does feel like half of a movie to me, and so I have it in A tier because it's a great half of a movie. I really
yeah,
do love it. It's even more visually ambitious than the first one. I think this is probably the coolest a comic book movie has ever looked. Like, it just visually, it's so striking, and the things, and the way it manipulates color, especially with Gwen. This is definitely the best Gwen Stacy movie, for me. But, this the way that it, like, when she's feeling lonely and isolated, it's very blue and cold, and then all of a sudden when she has these great moments with her dad, it becomes warm and orange, and they hug, and it's, those kinds of things is very that's visual storytelling. That's what I love about the medium of, movies and films, is that they can do that, and it's a unique thing to movies. And so I love that. I love the visual aspects of it. Like I said, probably the coolest superhero movies ever looked. Miles and his arc are even greater. Like I said, I just don't think that it's as tight of a movie as Into the Spider-Verse. I think there's some really it's I mean, it has every Spider-Man that basically has ever existed in this movie. Like, they're all in here.
yeah,
Um, and so it feels a little more overstuffed and cramped than the other ones, but, really the only thing that's holding it back from being S tier for me is that it feels like half a movie, and so I have to put it in A. It's just not that perfect experience as Into the Spider-Verse was.
yeah.
So, yeah.
I agree. I have it in A. I really don't have a whole lot, more to add to it. I did say, something I wrote down was like it has all these Spider-Mans, and that's kind of been a knock on the other movies of like it's too much, but like they make
Really?
this work because it's all the Spider-Mans, and I just enjoyed it. I do like the comic book look of it all. Both of the Into and Across the Spider-Verses. I like the comic book look of them. It's not your normal, not your normal Spider-Mans. They're
Yeah.
obviously a little bit different. They have a different
And they even
look
throw
to
in,
them.
like, talk about then in this multiverse, this is probably the craziest multiverse movie we've ever gotten with, like, it has, like, a Lego universe
Yeah.
and, like, live action people thrown in here, like, there you can see Toby in, like, in the background, and
Mhm.
it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, it's a good one. They both are into and across. They did a good job with it. So we'll keep it an A. We both agree on that one. That's probably the only one of the only ones we've agreed on. So finally, last but certainly not least, here's where your spoilers are coming into play. Books has seen it twice. I've already seen it once, and I would love to see it again. Spider-Man Brand New Day. I will just go ahead and say I've got it in S tier already.
I also have it in S tier, baby.
Okay,
You can
good.
slap that right below Spider-Man 2 for me.
Okay, I let's talk about this. Okay. Um, so Spider-Man, first of all, the movie Spider-Man Brand New Day is oh, it's so good. Oh, it was so good. I so we went and saw it at like 8:35 or something like that is when the movie time started. But that's when the previews start. So it really didn't start till like 9. And so it was almost midnight by the time this movie's over. And I was alert and I was watching and I was awake and it was because it was that good. Um, but Brand New Day, I mean, let me look at my notes that I have on it. The cliffhanger from this movie. Oh my goodness. It is such a great cliffhanger. Like, and like
That
I
was
said, we're
fun.
going to have spoilers, but like the fact that he remembers Peter after they do their handshake is
Okay,
perfect.
I was gonna ask you though, because there's some conjecture online on whether or not he just like fully remembers everything, or if he's like thinking, "Oh wait, she said Spider-Man's name is Peter. His name's Peter. Like, am I talking to Spider-Man right now?" But but I
No,
understand he has like the muscle memory maybe with
I
the
don't think
handshake.
that. No.
You think he just straight up gets all of his memories back?
I think he remembers Peter. I think his Doctor Strange wizard powers are kicking in, and I think the spell didn't affect him, maybe as much, or I don't know how they're going to explain it, but I don't think the spell affected him as much as it did everybody else, all the normal human beings.
Mhm.
Um, and so I think he remembers that that's Peter Parker, that's my best friend, that's Spider-Man. We've done all this together. I think maybe his powers will come back into play in a future movie. Like, I don't know. I think something good is happening with that. I think the cliffhanger there is really good. Um, his internal struggle is the best internal struggle of any Spider-Man movie yet. The fact that he's battling these inner demons and he's fighting against himself is peak Spider-Man versus Peter Parker, and the fact that he like his body is basically fighting him. He's fighting against himself. He's so stressed out that his body is making webs for the first time. There's even a reference into No Way Home, and the fact that he says something like when he's poking the webs out of his wrists, he's like, "Okay, Peter too did it, so I can do it," or something like
Yeah.
that.
Peter
Like
2 had
that was
organic webs. He was cool. I'm
yeah.
cool.
So that's good. I like the kind of the tie back to that movie,
Yeah.
and the tie back to the original Spider-Man as well. Um, I think Jean Grey is a fantastic villain. I already kind of talked about her earlier. Like Doc Ock's the best villain there is, but Jean Grey's right up there next to it because you almost get like it's almost like a horror film at the beginning. Like this is kind of creepy what's going on right now. Like she's hypnotizing these she's like possessing these people like and
Yeah.
they're
Yeah.
they're creepy like it's kind of like that the weird smile that horror films can have and so it was a little horror like at the beginning, which was kind of it. I didn't dislike it. I thought it was kind of whoa, like this villain is legit. um the Hulk sighting is awesome. The fact that the Hulk makes an appearance as the Hulk, like this is the first time we've seen the Hulk as himself, Hulk smash green monster dude, like since
Yeah.
before Endgame, before Infinity War. And so it's crazy that he's back in this movie. That was really fun. Um, and then I think the inhibitor chips that help keep everybody, where they're supposed to be, help keep their minds normal. I think that's a great callback to Doc Ock, and the fact that he, that's kind of his thing when he put that,
Mhm.
on the back of his neck to help control the tentacles and all that stuff, help keep them, sane and him in control and not the tentacles in control. That's a great callback as well. Um, I'm anxious to hear, and you might know a little bit more. Like, I think, I think Mark Banner knows that the guy that he saw on campus talking about um, a universal inhibitor chip or whatever is Spider-Man because when he said it's universal, Mark Banner was like, "Wait," because he had
Bruce,
heard it before, right? And so I think there's some. I'd like to see how, like in future movies, how that kind of ties back, if it ties back, um, to Mark Banner remembering that Peter
Bruce,
is Spider-Man. Bruce, not Mark Banner. I don't know why I'm saying Mark Banner.
because his
Bruce
real
Banner.
name's Mark Ruffalo, so that's interesting.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. The actor, the actor. But yeah, Bruce.
Yeah.
I just think, I think maybe he remembers a little bit,
Mhm.
or he's starting to kind of tie the pieces together. Like, oh, this kid is Spider Man.
Yeah,
Maybe he doesn't remember that he's Spider Man, but he's starting to tie the fact together that okay, he knows who he is now. Um, and then the scene of him fighting the freaking ninjas in the bottom of that prison thing is so awesome. It was so awesome. The slow-mo action scenes and just his versus the Peter Parker or the Spider-Man, he says, "I'm both." It's just it's such a great movie. And I had a really good time with it. And so obviously I do have it in S tier. Obviously you do too. So we can decide, after you talk about it, where we're gonna put everything.
yeah.
But if you have not seen Spider-Man Brand New Day. You basically just saw it, but you need to go see it if you're any type of Marvel or Spider-Man movie fanatic because it's a great
Yeah.
movie.
No, it is such a great movie. It's already I mean, it's my second I'll say it right now, it's my second favorite Spider-Man movie, only behind Spider-Man 2, and that makes it one of my favorite MCU movies of all time,
Yeah.
for sure, already. And, there I mean, I could dedicate a whole 'nother video to talking about, what I think's gonna happen next, the fallout of things that happened in this,
Yeah.
what's the MCU gonna look like because of all these things? How do the X-Men fit into the MCU with Doomsday coming and the
Mhm.
inhibitor chips? Of course, they're gonna, you know, of course, that's gonna have consequences moving forward.
Mhm.
Spider-Man, Peter Parker himself created the device that's probably gonna be used to suppress mutant power, you know?
Mhm.
So that's gonna be something crazy. I mean, you could say Bruce kinda invented it, but Peter took it to a universal level. Um, and so there's gonna be so much stuff with that, but to keep it slightly more brief,
Yeah.
uh, just the the questions they were asking about Peter, I mean, Spider-Man 2, like y'all know, is my favorite superhero movie of all time. It talks about what it means to sacrifice to be Spider-Man. You know what I mean? What does that look like to sacrifice everything to be Spider-Man? Brand New Day kind of takes it one step, it asks the follow-up question. Okay, now that he's sacrificed everything and he is Spider-Man, what does it mean to keep being Spider-Man when you have nothing? He has nothing for years and years and years. 4 years, it goes through a time jump where where Peter Parker's life is just terrible, and he's only Spider-Man. Spider-Man is the only part of him that gets to see the light of day, you know what I mean? I mean, Peter, all he does is take flowers to Aunt May, and that's that's pretty much it, you know? And so what does it mean to after you've sacrificed everything and you have nothing, what does it mean to continue getting up every day, putting on the suit and being Spider-Man? And I think that's so interesting. I think the whole, evolution of his powers is a great way to manifest that visually, where Spider-Man is starting to take over. And I think this is one of the best uses, if not maybe, I mean, Civil War's up there, but like this is one of the best uses ever of the MCU. Certainly when it comes to Spider-Man, but just in general, I think this is one of the best uses of the MCU, because all the characters that are here for a reason, and it makes sense that they're there, you know? I mean, Yelena is probably the most egregious one that's a cameo, but she operates in New York. She's
Mhm.
part of the New Avengers, so it makes sense that he would go there for help. It makes sense that Peter Parker is struggling with the inner demon inside of him, with the beast and the monster within him. Who's he gonna go talk to? Bruce freaking Banner. He's the Hulk. Of course he's gonna go talk to him about that problem. He's the quintessential, example of that problem. And so, every single cameo that's in the MCU makes sense. Punisher in this movie.
It's
Him
great.
is so great. His chemistry with Frank Castle is so great. Everything probably my favorite parts of the movie are scenes with Spider-Man and Frank. The scene where MJ tells Peter, "I don't love you anymore. I don't even know you," is one of the most heartbreaking scenes in the whole MCU.
Yeah.
You just feel for Peter in
Yeah.
that moment. I mean, that is, and then it balances it all so great with that next scene where he gets to go up and just play with some Legos with Ned, you
Yeah.
know? And then you just it's my favorite that Ned and MJ have ever been in the MCU. It's my favorite dynamic that he's ever had with Ned and MJ,
Mhm.
and it's funny because they don't even remember who he is. But, MJ says it best, "You guys are acting, you guys look like best friends," And it's just
Yeah.
such a great movie, so
It is.
heartfelt. Jean Grey was a great villain, and I do feel like, she's redeemed at the end,
Mhm.
but I do think, I mean, there's some
There's something
conjecture
gonna
on.
happen with her.
Yeah, but there's also some conjecture on, like, who was the villain of the movie? Was it Damage Control? Was it Jean Grey? Like,
Oh, yeah.
but Jean Grey is doing some evil crap throughout this movie. Like,
Yeah.
the whole fake out kiss, that's really
Yeah.
evil and creepy. The
Mhm.
whole, like, she possesses a dude and steps into traffic with him. Like,
Mhm.
there's a bunch of crazy stuff. I mean, she
Yeah.
almost leveled the whole city. She's by far the most powerful villain that Spider-Man has ever faced in the MCU, for
Mhm.
sure. I mean, outside of the MCU too, ever. Um, but man, the Aunt May scene, this is my favorite use of Aunt May in the MCU as well. I mean, her speech to Jean, which is a speech that she, made to Peter,
Right.
that speech really hit me. I thought it was a great use of Aunt May that, Peter without Aunt May, Peter without these mentor figures that he has, Uncle Ben, Aunt May, for Miles, Peter B. Parker, those type of people. Peter without or his parents too, but Peter without those people could end up being something like Gene. He has these crazy powers. They could be used for something else. But because
Mhm.
he has these great mentors, he is able to use them for good because they teach him great lessons about responsibility.
Yeah.
And you see what a person with crazy powers without a great mentor can fall into. Jean never had that, and eventually she's going to have Charles Xavier, who's one of the best. But that scene where she finally has somebody mentoring, and the lesson about, hey, like, the most important thing you can do is love yourself, because if you can't love yourself, then it's going to be really hard for you to love others and use your power for good. That was really powerful. And
Yeah.
so this is a great movie, man. The
It is a
action,
great movie.
the suit, my number one suit of all Spider-Man suits. So it was great, man. I loved
It
it.
was. All right, let's go through. So our rankings we're not gonna agree on hardly any of it,
No.
like the S's and the A's, and I just for final reference, my only two S's are No Way Home and Brand New Day. Okay,
Wow.
no, that's a
Okay.
lie. That's a lie. I'm sorry. Yes,
Yeah.
No Way
Okay.
Home, Brand New Day, and then I had Spider-Man 2. Like it's right below that. It's basically an S. It's just I just Tobey. I just can't do Tobey. He's just not the guy. And so I had him. I had it just below that. But so this is yours. You have 5 S's. Is that
The,
correct?
the the only one I
Oh
didn't
no,
have
you
an
have
S.
this down.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
but there it was really close. I mean,
yeah,
I
just like
if you
that.
want to, I mean, you put No Way Home. Do you like? Okay, let's do like a ranking for you though. Like, do you have them
Yes.
ranked?
So okay.
Yeah.
So my ranking. All right. So here's my ranking. Okay. Number 11, Amazing Spider-Man 2. Absolutely terrible. Number 10, Spider-Man 3. Okay. Number 9 is Far From Home. Number 8 is Homecoming. And then numbers 1 through 7 are legit good movies, like S and A tier. There's 7 of them. Like, that's how good the Spider-Mans are. So number 7, I had Across the Spider-Verse. Number 6, The Amazing Spider-Man, the first one, which you disagree with that being amazing, but it is. Number 5, the first Spider-Man with Tobey, the Green Goblin, number 5. Number 4, I had Into the Spider-Verse. Number 3, I had Spider-Man 2. Number 2, I had Brand New Day. And number 1, my favorite one, is No Way Home.
No Way Home, still your number 1. Okay.
Yeah. Now,
all right.
I think that's going to change. I've only seen Brand New Day once, and so I think when I see it another time and another time, like, I'm going to catch more things, and it's probably going to jump No Way Home. But I've seen No Way Home like 4 or 5 times at this point, so it's just better in my opinion right now.
That's fair enough. You're wrong, but that's fair enough.
You're probably right. I probably am wrong. Just not yet.
Okay, so my ranking at a number 11, I have Far From Home. Number 10, I have The Amazing Spider-Man 2. Number 9, I have The Amazing Spider-Man. At number 8, Spider-Man 3. Number 7, Homecoming. And then now my top 6, I think, are all really, really great movies. My number 6 was No Way Home. My
Really?
God.
Crazy, man.
My number 5 was Across the Spider-Verse. 4, Into the Spider-Verse. 3 was Spider-Man 2002, the OG. My number 2 was Spider-Man Brand New Day. And my number 1 remains Spider-Man 2. So
we were pretty close. Like, the only 2 that we really like disagree on, The Amazing Spider-Man, the first one, and then you're not as high. I mean, you still think No Way Home is fantastic, but it's just number 6 on yours. But really, the only one was The Amazing Spider-Man. That was like the only one that was like way off. So there you have it.
Yeah. There's a lot of good Spider-Man movies.
There are. They're good. I'm glad we did this. I said that at the beginning, but I'm glad we did this because I had either forgotten or I just hadn't watched some of these movies in years. And so I just, like, things change, life changes, and you grow up and you mature and you look at movies differently. And these are all, like, the top 6 or 7 movies are really dang good Spider-Man movies.
They are.
So
Are you an X-Men fan? Since we talked a little bit about Jean Grey,
barely watched any X-Men.
All right, there's the next ranking.
Yeah, okay.
All 11 X-Men movies, or how many?
There's 11 of them. Okay,
I have no idea, but there are quite a few.
Yeah. I want to watch them now because they're starting to merge with Marvel. Like, Marvel is literally the only, like, it just came out when I was a kid, and it's just kind of what I've followed as I've gone up, and so, you know, that's the only one I've followed. But I got to start watching some other ones because they're starting to cross over now. I haven't even watched Fantastic Four yet.
You know what? Neither have I. I don't even feel like, and I feel like that is like a important, like, it's going to be an important one. Yeah. That or Thunderbolts. I haven't seen Thunderbolts yet.
So that was the thing I was going to ask you. Coach Baker told me Thunderbolts is like a top, I think he wanted to say top 5 Marvel movie in his rankings.
Whoa. I think Balin had it in S tier when we did our ranking.
Yeah. So I think Thunderbolts is
maybe not S tier, but I think he had it in A tier.
Yeah, I think Thunderbolts is a good one that needs to be watched. So I think I need to watch that next. But
yeah.
There you have it for the Jackie Robinson episode of Yada Yada. That was 2 hours ago when we were talking about Jackie Robinson.
Per month. There you go.
We had a lot to talk about. Don't act like you didn't miss us, people.
Right.
You're glad it's 2 hours. The longer it is, the longer it will last you until the next episode. We can take another 2 months off. And you'll just now be finishing this episode.
Yeah, you can watch it like Ty watched The Amazing Spider-Man 2, just about 10-minute intervals. You'll be good.
I'm trying to get – we're going to get texts from people. I'm trying to get through the Jackie Robinson episode.
That's what
right.
we should just call it the Jackie Robinson episode and then not mention anything about Spider-Man.
has nothing
Go, what the heck?
There's nothing to do with it. Oh, that's fair. All right. There you have it.
All
Yada
right.
yada, episode 42. Peace out.